evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode ever of Jafar Show. Welcome to world of love, respect, tolerance, and most importantly, fun. Oh yeah, we are gonna have fun. Let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel responsible talking about the most important subject that's going on right now in the Middle East. As you all know, we have to talk about what's going on in Indonesia. What? I got you there. Please, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me because I may throw some sentences here and there that are some kind, hopefully, some kind self-claimed sense of humor, but this is what I believe is a medicine for our times. I believe that we have to laugh, we have to joke, we don't have to be sensitive. I believe we have to basically start from the basis that we love each other, we're all equal. And please, if I am, how can I say it? If I'm offensive to anybody, please excuse me. I apologize. I am just trying to throw a little sense of humor here and there just to make the situation a little bit better. That's all. All right. So let's get back to it. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as what's going on in the Middle East, all of you agree that what's going on right now in Israel and Palestine is the priority. And guess what? Just from saying these two words, Israel and Palestine, the critiques are already flooding in. Why? Because this side would prefer me to say, instead of saying Israel, or you should have said so-called Israel, as if these Israeli people don't exist. And this side will prefer me to say, instead of saying Palestine, you should have said so-called Palestine, as if these Palestinian people don't exist. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. They both exist. They are both there and they are going nowhere. So we may as well get used to it. We may as well get along. We may as well find solutions. And as a matter of fact, I believe that is the most important part of this show. It's the solution part. I've seen a lot of shows going on around. They say this is the problematic, this is the conflict, this is what's happening on, this is the history, this. But the solutions, and I know we hear the two-state solutions. We'll talk about it again. Is that possible? Is it not? We'll talk about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Palestine and Israel. What's going on in there? We can go back in history. We can go back in history. Some people say go even before Jesus Christ. Well, guess what? I say it's not a valid argument. And nobody wins that argument anyway, because there are sources that say that part was inhabited by everybody from a long time ago. Both sides have no claim to it, I'm telling you guys. I did my research. I found that the South Coastal area, for example, where is Gaza right now, never been inhabited by Jews before. I mean, until the settlers of 1967, of course. But let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. We have no agenda here. I've never been on TV. I've never been affiliated to any kind of organization. All what I'm doing is I'm talking from the heart. And I'm just felt the need to speak up. I know it's dangerous time to speak up right now. Totally agree. The assassinations of Charlie Clark, the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, there is a lot of things that don't make sense lately, okay? Because we believe that this is a place of the freedom of speech. We believe this is the First Amendment. We believe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go back to what's going on in Israel and Palestine. There are a few dates that we have to talk about. When we're talking about Israel and Palestine, there is no need to go back in history. We'll just talk about from the Ottoman Empire. Let's make it sound like this. Once upon a time, there used to be the Ottoman Empire. It started in 1299. It lasted until 1922. On 1516, they took over the area called Palestine. That area was inhabited by most Arab Muslim. There are some Jews, there are some Christians, of course. Christians, of course, especially in Ramallah. That's the city where Jesus Christ was born. That's a holy city for all religions. Then on 1917, that's when the British army entered the land of Palestine. Officially, the Ottoman Empire was over in 1922, but the occupation of Britain started since 1917. And that actually was the same year of the Balfour Declaration. That's when basically the foreign ministry of Britain at that time wrote a letter to the noble gentlemen, and they gave them the process. They gave them the promise to build a new nation for the Jew. That was in 1917, and this nation will be in the land of Palestine, which is also considered the Jerusalem. Basically, it's a holy land for Israel. That's where they have the temple. That's where I have first and the second. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going back to history. We're gonna mention few dates, and those few dates basically are very, very important. There's a lot of disputes about the facts that I'm about to mention, but please just bear with me. We're just getting an idea. If you have any kind of dispute of what I'm about to say, please feel free to leave some comments, educate us, teach us, let us know what's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll start from 1948. From 1917 to 1948, there was a strong Zionist movement. That's the movement that's saying, hey, we need to make the Jew nation in one country in Jerusalem area, where basically the promised land. And that we had to have to fight for it peacefully, non-peacefully. It is what it is. There were some military militias back then from the Jew, and they were called actually terrorist organization at that time. Same thing with the Arab military militias at that time. They were called terrorist organization. But the Britain military, oh no, those are the official fighters of the government. That's how it was, and that's almost how it is even right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, back then, 1948, what happened? Survivals of the Holocaust. A horrible thing that happened. And guess what? The whole world sympathized with them, and the whole world understood what they went through. Not something easy, not something that even humanity was familiar with. And that mass murder, that's too much, that we couldn't even handle. So there was a lot of sympathy, and the Zionism movement also, they grew very strong. So what happened? 1948, we're going to declare our independence. All right. What we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and expel about 1 million people from that area, so we can bring our people. We're talking about over 750,000 that went to Jordan. There is another 100,000 to Syria, another 100,000 to Lebanon, another 100,000 down to Egypt. All right, and guess what? Not only that, more are going to go south to Gaza, and more are going to be even more condensed by the West Bank, which is called also by the Israelis, Judea and Samaria. They love to say that word. It's like a part of our holy land. Oh my gosh, it's God's land. It's everybody's land. It's God's land with all human. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to our 1948. What happened? I'm just visualizing the scenario right now. So families from the Holocaust survivor families, they were promised a kumbaya land here in Palestine. They're going to go to Palestine, and basically they're going to find a new nation for all the Jews that are going to live peacefully. A new nation for all the Jews where they're going to live peacefully. Okay. Many went to Palestine by ships, by boats, by airplanes, by every means of transportation. Basically, the people over there were expelled. 1948, now we have a new nation. All right. I'm just going to go quickly to the next dates. 1967, that's when Israel decided to take over basically even more land, all the land, which is Gaza, which is the West Bank. We're talking about, they also added the Golan Heights in south of Syria. They also added I believe some farms, Shaban Shatila from Lebanon. They also added the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. They just took over everything. 1967. Guess what? They had a strong army. Let's do it. They got everything. All right. 1973. What happened? 1973. Now, surprise attack from Egypt and Syria. They're going to surprise Israel, and they just basically going to attack Israel and get back what they lost. What is the outcome of that? Outcome of that is Israel was losing until, of course, as usual, until the United States came over to help. And the Camp David Accord, that's the result of it. It was on 1978, where finally we got some peace between Egypt and Israel. And Israel was able to basically give back the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt. The Syrians were mad, basically, because they didn't get their Golan Heights. They were a little bitter about the accord, but that brought peace to the region. From that day until now, we have peace between Egypt and Israel from Camp David, 1978. All right. What is the next day? The next day we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is 1988. That's when the Palestinians decided to declare their independence. And Algiers, the capital of Algeria, the next door country to Morocco, my beloved Morocco, and to Tunisia. All right, ladies and gentlemen. 1967, they took over basically all that land. It is what it is. 1978, we have the Camp David Accord with Egypt. Now we have some peace. And then we'll go maybe to the 1993, 1995 Oslo Accords. But if that didn't do anything, be honest with you, I didn't see any improvement. There was a promise that there was going to be an independent state, but it just everybody was making excuses. And I'll be honest, everybody was making excuses from the Israeli side, because the Palestinians, all they wanted is to independent state since forever. And the Israelis have been clear since forever too. Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, the longest standing prime minister in the history of Israel, he's been clear in his speeches, in his everything. I mean, if you say hi, he's like, yeah, no two-state solution. It is what it is. He make it very clear, 100% no two-state solution, no two-state solution. So that's where we are. Oslo Accord didn't move anything, basically. That was in 93 and 95. Now, the next date I would like to talk about is the 2005. 2005 is when basically Ariel Sharon, the prime minister of Israel back then, that's when he decided we're going to withdraw from Gaza. We're going to leave it to the Palestinians. Let them govern that area. That caused basically the displacement of about 10,000 Israelis that used to live in that area. They were settlers from the 1967 war. And they also had to take their cemeteries out. Basically, they just had to take everything out from there. That's 2005. Now, we go to the next important date, which is, unfortunately, the 2023, October 7th. And we all witnessed what happened. And I would like to take a pause on that, ladies and gentlemen. And I understand what you're going to tell me. Oh, the Palestinians, this is what happening to them since 75 years. I totally understand. Palestinians are the underdog. Everybody agrees on that. Nobody can deny that. But let's just talk also about what happened in October 7, because nobody can deny that either. We shouldn't. Documentary screams before silence. Watch it, guys. Tell me, what do you think? October 7th. I was watching some videos about what happened in October 7th. Okay, I wanted to be educated about the subjects before I make any decisions, before I make any judgments, before I speak up, before anything. You have to watch basically the news from every source. And that's the only way you can make your own decision, your own educated decision. That's what I recommend you guys. Please watch from the right, from the left, from the middle, from the independent media. And right now we have a blessing of alternative media. So finally, you don't have to listen just to the media from the government, and you can listen to some new ideas, some new solutions, some new energy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna go back to October 7, 2023. And for this one, excuse me, I just need to take a little drink. Remember that commercial with Ronaldo, soccer player, when he had the Coca-Cola bottle and he moved it, then he got the water. Immediately, Coke stocks just went down. That was an excuse to get water another time, huh? Got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 2023, what happened? I'm watching the videos of the destruction that's happened that day. And among the videos, I see a swing, children's swing that we have here in the house, right here, outside of my house. That's for my 3-year-old daughter. Exactly the same one, blue and yellow. The only difference is mine is pretty new, and the one that I saw there melted, burnt, destroyed. And I thought about my daughter at that time, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's daughter that was playing in that swing just like mine. Who knows what happened to her? And actually, we kind of know what happened to those poor children. We do know what happened. Unbelievable, unbelievable. The savagery that happened that day is seriously unbelievable. And I'm going to say it immediately. Yes, Hamas, you're savage. But guess what you did? You brought the beast out of Israel. And especially that Israel is more powerful. They have stronger friends, United States. They have more weapons. They have the nuclear weapons, guys. You cannot threaten their existence at all. They're there. They're staying there. We have to think about it logically, ladies and gentlemen. There are people who were born there in 1950. Imagine. 1950, you were born in Israel, okay? Then you have a son in 1970. That's first generation. Another generation by 1990. Another generation by 210. And now we're almost by the 4th generation, ladies and gentlemen, that somebody's grandfather was born in Israel. And you're going to go tell them, no, you shouldn't be here. This is the radical thinking that's getting us to this situation. I understand you guys want to show that you're savage. Excellent. But guess what? Haven't you learned from the savagery from all this 75 years that's been going on? Right now, you do have hostages, yes. But do you know how many hostages do Israel have right now? So I'm going to go back to the subject again. 2023, October 7th, the savagery that happened that day is unbelievable. And it's just basically, what can I say? I don't want to go through the details, because when I remember the exact details, and some people will tell me, no, you have to be fair, just like you mentioned the details for Palestinians, that they're going through hunger, they're just like being offended for the last 75 years. Just like you're about to mention the story of Salah, a Palestinian. I'm about to mention to you what happened to him. You have to be fair, and you have to give him the same time to Palestinians, to Israelis. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I am with both. I want both to live happy. I want both to live happy, eat ice cream, and take their children to school peacefully. You're going to hear this sentence a lot. Eat ice cream and take your children to school peacefully. Why? Because that means a lot. It's very symbolic.